Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for jumping on. Super interesting to have you on too, given your background in prop trading
Yeah.
and just what you're working on, which I think is a really cool product. And we'll kind of get into it later. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's playing into this whole kind of like people building game layers on top of prediction markets, or
Mhm.
more engaging layers, more like competitive
Yes.
layers.
Yes.
So yeah, so thanks for coming on, and maybe if you want to give a quick intro and yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, John. I am honored to be with you and Polyfactual. So happy Tuesday. Yes. So Melissa Footlick, I am the founder and CEO of Catalyst, and we are in the prediction market space. And we are similar to, but different from this retail prop firm model that a lot of people may or may not know. And I'm excited to talk more about what prop firm trading is and how we're different. But to give just a little bit of background about me and how I got into the space in 2010. I started as the second employee of TopStep, who actually at the time it was Patak Trading Partners and eventually became TopStep. Um, but at the time, um, we created this retail firm model. It was founded by a former floor trader, and he realized that you didn't have to necessarily be like on the trading floor to be a successful profitable futures trader. um, with the transition to electronic trading, and he would joke that he wanted to find a bunch of mini hems to
That's
trade.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's really interesting too. Like, I don't think a lot of people know this, or at least I didn't know this until I was talking to you a little bit earlier, before we went live. But first of all, Top Step was like the first prop
First.
trading firm. Like, you guys
Yeah.
literally invented the model,
Hmm.
and I'm curious about that. Like, what? So maybe kind of, if you want to kind of get into like the early history of it, and you were the second employee too, so you
I
were literally
was.
like, you were part of the founding team that started
I
prop.
was,
Yeah,
yes.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy, and it was not something I had expected. I was pretty early out of college and thought I was gonna go into nonprofits, and then, a friend of a friend introduced me to this guy starting this company, and I was like, "Hey, why not? This sounds kind of fun." And so it was a crazy ride. I was there for 11 years, so really saw the growth and evolution of the model. But in the early days, it was we would post ads on college career boards, on Craigslist, become a funded trader, become a proprietary trader. And for those who don't know, proprietary trading is defined as you're trading somebody else's capital. And historically, you had to be on the trading floor or work for one of the big firms. And the idea behind Top Step was to really democratize the opportunity for anybody anywhere to become a funded trader, so to speak, and trade our firm's capital. And the way the model works at prop firms in general is you pay a fee to go through an evaluation. It is a real time market simulation. So it's just like if you were trading Robinhood or IB Interactive Brokers account. And if you adhere to certain rules and reach a certain profit target, then you would move on to, now the models evolved to like kind of this intermediary, like what a lot of prop firms call like sim funded, where you will continue to trade on sim and you'd receive a percent of your profits. And then for many firms, you would then go trade a live account as well. But in the beginning, this concept and the fact that it was the first ever out there, and you're asking people to, pay for a simulation, It took a long time for people to, one, of course, just get to know us, and then two, build trust in what we were offering. There was a ton of skepticism. I will never forget the time somebody posted like an email I had sent to them on Reddit and said something to the effect of, there's no way somebody's last name is Footlick. And if it is, like, I feel so bad for them. That is the worst name I've ever heard. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting cyberbullied. But, we really had to work and grind for years to, prove like we're real people and this opportunity is real if you, show that you can be a good trader. And so, it's kind of surreal still. Fast forward 16 years from then, and it's this multi-billion dollar industry, and there's thousands of these firms, and there's futures and crypto and CFDs and Forex, pretty much every asset class. And it's just a widely known, accepted, way of people to both be able to develop in a safer environment. The simulator, and you're paying, a couple $100 a month, but you're still getting the exposure of trading with, real size, and there's loss limits and other rules in place to really help you become a disciplined, profitable trader,
Mm.
which, in any world beats the alternative of, trying it out and like an actual brokerage account. And then the cherry on top is, the opportunity to actually profit from and get payouts from being successful. And so, uh, it's a better way for people to learn and make money trading, in my humble perspective. And so yeah, it's been a journey. I remember I shared a picture with our team of it was like September 2011 or something, and we went out and had a celebration because we had gotten 100 paid signups in a week, and now it's like there's probably 100 signups every second for across these firms. But it's been incredible, and I'm excited to bring that concept, that similar idea to prediction markets, but with kind of our unique take on it.
Yeah, it's such an interesting concept. I mean, the idea is so permeated right now. Like prop firms, I've seen a whole bunch of them, and I think the defining difference is, right, like correct me if I'm wrong, but so Top Step is a retail prop firm versus
Yes.
HRT is still a prop firm, right? But it's just not
Yeah.
retail prop firm. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So there's, the Susquehannas, or, Belvedere's, Citadel, like, those are retail prop firms, where you're trading, the firm's capital, but just on a different level.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, like, what is that? Like, is it, so in terms of like retail prop firms, what do you think the defining difference is? Where, is it that it's more
Mm.
accessible to traders, or is it just, you
Yeah.
target retail traders specifically?
So
Um,
it's certainly more accessible because you're able anywhere in the world, anyone anywhere in the world, excuse me, can, sign up and trade for a retail prop firm. Of course, there's some geographic restrictions. But then, you can be, sweeping the floors of McDonald's, during the day and trade at night. Like your education, your professional experience, like that doesn't matter at a retail prop firm. Whereas now, you need to have some quant background from MIT, to get hired by a retail or by a, traditional prop firm. Um, so just opening up that opportunity for anyone anywhere, really.
it's crazy to me that you had to get signed. Like it's like I understand it was a different time, so it's
Mhm.
like early days of prop firms.
Yeah.
But was this before or after Robinhood, by the way? Like,
Before.
okay, so it was
Well
before
before.
like the retail boom, basically.
Yes, yes.
Interesting.
And so along with the retail boom, it really coincided this whole retail trading and getting people in the markets also kind of coincided with COVID and people being at home and the gig economy. It was just this like kind of perfect circumstance of all these different variables converging to create just a really ripe environment for people seeking this type of opportunity.
What was the so I have a few more questions on the
Yeah.
platform stuff just because
Yeah.
you are one of the original people, and I just
Mhm.
I got to take the opportunity. But in terms of what was like the biggest barriers back then in terms of finding traders? Like you mentioned that as people were skeptical, so like the traders you were
Mhm.
kind of approaching were maybe skeptical at first.
Mhm.
Were there any other barriers in terms of like, did you have to source, did you have to work hard to like find, okay, well, these guys, we can't just be getting anyone. I mean, we got to have some sort of due diligence for these traders. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, so there were a number of barriers. So one, it was just, proving the legitimacy of the firm and the opportunity, of course. And then there were trading communities, a few here and there, but there was not this mass, Discord channels and YouTube channels, like the whole influencer educator uh, ecosystem was not, it was nothing really at the time. And so, getting the word out and just getting in front of people was certainly a challenge. And then um you know finding the right balance, and this is kind of one of my big gripes with the industry even today, of um balancing what is sustainable for a prop firm in terms of funding traders, especially with this emergence of that sim funded level where people are getting payouts at the simulated stage. So the orders aren't going to the exchange, so the prop firms actually, any profits that the trader's making are coming out of the firm. um, and so, finding that healthy balance between what is sustainable for a prop firm, but what is still fair and enticing for the trader. And, prop firms today are still struggling with that. There's, hundreds, I think I've heard, that went out of business last year because their model was not sustainable. Like they were paying out more than they were bringing in. And then for the ones that, are surviving or, even thriving, they're constantly having to tweak and adjust the levers, make things harder, move them to the live account because, the sim funded profits are exceeding what's sustainable. Um, add, different gates and rules and changing the payout structure and terms. And so that was, one of my kind of big inspirations for creating Catalyst. And this, because we're not a prop firm and we can talk more about it, but creating this new way for people to learn and earn from their trading, but in a simpler, more transparent, and more equitable way.
yeah, so I want to jump into Catalyst, and I want to kind of get your
Yeah.
take on prediction markets. Um, But
Mhm.
before I do, I have one last
Yeah,
question about prop firms, which you
please.
which you kind of touched on a little bit, um, which is the pitfalls, right? Which
Yeah.
like some of the issues in the industry right now, like you mentioned, a prop firm just kind of went out of business. It sounds like it sounds like, at least with traditional prop firms, the most difficult thing seems to be, just based off what you were saying, seems to be like adjusting things in a way where it's maybe still profitable for the firm to keep these traders on. So it's like finding
Mhm.
that balance.
Right.
But I'm curious on your take on what you've observed in the prop firm industry as of late, and if there's and if there's any problems that you're observing, and
Yeah.
maybe prediction markets might be greener pasture,
Mhm.
when considering some of these issues.
Yeah, so it's I think the opportunity of prop firms that they present to the everyday retail trader is fantastic. That being said, there is currently no regulation for this space, and I people might not like to hear this, but I absolutely believe like there should be because there have been far too many firms that have made promises that they cannot deliver. And, there's this term that I hear as it relates to prop firms about, rug pulls. Like they will bring all these traders in, they'll collect the fees, and then they run out of money and can't pay them out, and they rug pull. And so people are out both the profits that they've earned and potentially the valuation fees. And so I would say ensuring that you are with a reputable firm. And I know I'm saying that as a firm that just, launched a couple weeks ago. And so, of course, there's skepticism around it, which I understand, but hopefully, showing we're real people. And that was really important for me with the website is like actually like putting our faces out there and like telling our stories because with a lot of these new firms that are popping up, like there's no address, there's no phone number, there's no information about who is running the firm. And so at the very least, I think that should be people's like bare minimum expectation. Like you should know like who's behind this company that you are giving your money to. And also with prop firms today, especially in forex and CFDs, crypto, and even prediction markets, the barrier to entry for people to start a prop firm is at an all-time low. You can either, build it yourself or there's these like kind of prop in a box type firms. I think I might have coined that prop in a box, but you can go to these companies and, they'll give you a front end website and they'll give you the data feed and the processor. And so basically anyone anywhere not only can, trade for a prop firm, but can also like open a prop firm, which to me is alarming. And so I really encourage people to do that due diligence and, make sure you know who you're trading for and who you're giving your money to. And hopefully there's going to be some better consumer productions coming around the corner. And not only that, but the way a lot of these prop firms and even the ones that are more established, you sign these agreements as you pass to the sim funded stage or the live trader stage, and they're, you know, 35, 40 pages long. And there's just so much fine print and so much that that was not disclosed up front about when you can withdraw money, what you have to do to, maintain your account. And people just kind of become beholden to these prop firms, and the prop firms just hold all of the cards. And um, that just didn't sit right with me. And so I, was hoping to build something, better. And um, yeah,
So how do you see this kind of playing out? And and I know Catalyst isn't like a isn't like a prop firm specifically.
right.
Um, but I'm curious how you see this playing out in prediction markets. it's still pretty new. Like I have not, I've
Mhm,
seen a couple prop firms, seen
mhm,
Funding Predicts, for instance, is like a prop firm
mhm. Yeah,
that that I'm aware of. I think we interviewed another one, but how do you see like why is prediction markets, do you think, the next phase of
right.
growth here?
Well, I mean, I think just how prediction markets have grown generally. I feel like, and I'm sure this is, big tech serving me what I want to see, but I feel like, for months, every day I would log on to, Twitter or whatever, social media platform, and it was like, Kalshi this, Polymarket this, and all these builders, and there's just so much excitement around it. And, you know, prediction markets, so I'm not a trader in the sense of well, in particular futures, despite working at Top Step for as long as I did. But I will day trade on my Robinhood account, and then when prediction markets kind of emerged, I started trading that, and that was something that I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Like, and I talked to my girlfriends, and a couple of them I'd worked with at Top Step for years, and like they never got into futures trading, but I was like, no, like I told them, like, go sign up, like, just put $50 in a wallet. And I got them to do it, and they were like hooked. And because it's accessible and it provides people with the opportunity to trade on like what you know and what's exciting for you and what you already like have an interest in. And so that accessibility and also just the fact that like with prediction markets you don't have to be like glued to a screen like you do with futures trading. Like when I would open like a futures trading platform, it's like it felt like I was like in an airplane cockpit. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is happening? Like I got overstimulation, like, and that's not the case with prediction markets. Of course, like, you can find terminals with all those bells and whistles, and that works for some people, but for the everyday person who just is wants to, they're interested in crypto or, my favorite things, I love the mentions markets, sports, politics. So just being able to trade things that you are already like following and, know about is really, I think, fun and engaging and something that I think will really resonate and attract a lot of people to the space. And, as a new asset starts to get traction and, the growth of prediction markets in general has just been, like a rocket ship, just astronomical over the last year or so. It's going to start to attract more firms, more prop firms, and but the same issues that I have, and I believe a lot of people that are traders for prop firms have, will continue to persist with that prop firm model. And there was one prediction market prop firm that I already saw open to closed, and I
Oh
had,
wow.
yeah, I signed up. Thankfully, it was only like not very much, but I signed up and, I like never heard from the company and, within a month like the website was down. So,
Yeah, I mean, is the infrastructure like, I imagine you'd have to, I imagine the infrastructure would be similar, right? So like if you're building prop firm, because I know, what was the term you used, like out of the box or in the box
yeah,
prop firm? I
yes.
imagine that the infra is all set up for them, so they can just take it, they can run with it. Can you do that in prediction markets as well? Like, is it already at the stage where you can kind of just create a
I
prop firm as
do.
easily as that?
So I do know there is at least one of those prop in a box firms that just released a prediction market product, and they do have one prop firm. We built everything in-house because we did not want to be, reliant on a third party. We wanted to, control the data, how it was served, the trading experience. and just be able to keep that in-house versus, relying on somebody else. But no, those opportunities are now available for people to open up a prediction market prop firm, which, I
Well,
think
if you're
you know my feelings.
I guess if people are listening and want to do it, you know, but of course, I would definitely proceed with caution, definitely.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
so okay, so I guess we can kind of get into what you're building with
Yeah,
Catalyst, which is
yeah.
really interesting. So I saw it, and basically what I saw was, it's interesting because it's not exactly like it's like a cross between a trading terminal and a prop firm almost.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
there's this simulation environment and people can kind of engage in challenges, which I thought was really cool. And then but it's not like they're putting up, they win prizes basically. They win like a payout.
Payout. Yeah.
But maybe you can kind of go into it more because I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. So I've, kind of touched on this, but so I left Top Step in late 2021, and after 11 years, I'm sure you can imagine I was a little burned out on this space. So took some time away, and I became the COO of a publicly traded GovTech company. I was like, oh, GovTech is boring. Like, B2B, let alone like B to government, like no thanks.
Yeah.
And then, did a few other things, and then last year was recruited to become the COO of, actually, one of TopStep's competitors was there a short period of time. It was not a good mutual fit. But getting me back into the space made me like, it was like a fish to water. And I was like, okay, I love this. Like, there's just something intoxicating about this space to me, and just like retail trading, and really just like building something, and seeing like a problem, like identifying, a pain point for customers or traders in this case, and thinking about like unique and different and innovative ways to solve that problem. And so I got back into it, and I was like, okay, like I love this. I know this industry, despite the fact it's, blew up in magnitude, over the years. It's fundamentally the same, from, all my years at Top Step. And frankly, like that's kind of one of my gripes, because the thing with these prop firms, there's not I'm probably going to make enemies with prop firm CEOs. There just doesn't feel as though there's been a ton of innovation. It's, the same model across the board, in terms of you go to an evaluation, then you go to the sim funded stage, and then you, for a lot of firms, go to a live account. But that's kind of consistent throughout all of the prop firms. But along with that model, like we talked about, is there is this constant tug and pull of having to, balance how much people are paying out, how much they're losing on the live side. Market volatility really can just wreck these firms, especially when they have traders at the sim funded side of things, because, volatility presents a lot of opportunities for people to make a lot of money that then the firms are on the hook for. So, in February, these prop firms just got their butts handed to them, and, how to quickly prohibit people from trading metals because of all the metals volatility. And
Interesting.
so,
Hmm.
yeah. And so, these firms are, constantly changing, like how many days you have to be profitable. And if you have to, do 10 burpees before you can take a payout, and then spin around 3 times, like there's just so many like different things. Like I spent it took me an entire day to put together one prop firms. I just like wanted to get an understanding of what the trader journey was, from the evaluation to sim funded to a live account. It took me an entire day. Oh, my camera flickered. It's like the prop firm CEOs are like
The
coming
pro
to.
it's a sign.
um,
They control
yeah.
things.
Exactly. It took me an entire day of all the rules and requirements and hurdles. And I was like, there has got to be a simpler, more transparent, more equitable way for both the firm and the trader. And for the firm to be able to make money to subsist, but for the trader to also get payouts without having to, feel like the goalposts are constantly moving. And, we were at the time when I started building Catalyst, there was not, I mean, the space, even just in the 7, 8 months I started building it, um, has evolved so much that there was not like a retail trading opportunity for live accounts. So I was like, okay, so live trading is not really even on the table right now. The sim funded is just going to present the same problems that these prop firms have, where people are don't know what they have to do, and it changes all the time. And so I wanted to build something that was just a more fun, engaging model, um, but also simpler. And what we came up with was the trading challenge. And there's 5 levels with the challenge, and there's one target and one rule. The rule is you cannot exceed your max drawdown. And so it's like a loss limit rule, and it's only based on realized P&L. So, with prediction markets like open positions, the price, they can be very volatile. And so, I didn't want that to count against people. And then in terms of the target, it's just a matter of, profiting a certain amount, hitting a certain amount of what we call qualifying trades for each level. And as you progress, you can earn defined, transparent, upfront payouts. And so it's not variable based on your performance. You know upfront what it is that you can get. So just regardless of how much you profit in the sim account, the payouts are the same. And I know from the perspective of my regulatory and compliance attorney who was with the CFTC for 20 years, he was like, oh, I am so relieved to hear this is your model because, little inside info, like the CFTC is getting, a ton of complaints from prop firm customers about, prop firms in general. And one of the biggest concerns is this idea of variable compensation based on how much a trader earns in, a simulated account. So he was very relieved to hear that. And so, yeah, you might not at Catalyst, you'll see these prop firms, promote these 10,000, $20,000 payouts. I can assure you, John, uh, that is the 0.0001%. The vast majority of people do not get any payouts, and the ones that do are, in the 500 to, 1,000, maybe $2,000 range. And so, yeah, we have the challenge, and as you pass each level, the money deposits directly into your wallet, your Catalyst wallet, and you can withdraw right away. There's no waiting period. There's no approval required. Like you'll see with a lot of these prop firms, you can, as soon as you pass, it deposits. You can request 24/7, 365. And we just launched a couple weeks ago, but in addition to what we have now, to your point about just like gamification and engagement and, making it a place that is, both an opportunity for people to get payouts, but also a place where people can learn. And I think that's really important, especially with prediction markets, because unlike other assets that, are well established, there are very few commercially available, readily available, demo real-time simulated trading environments for people to practice prediction markets. And this is a new asset class. And so having that opportunity to practice with a $15,000 account and, just get your feet wet and get experience trading without, of course, putting $15,000 in, your Polymarket wallet, I think is really important. And so then, having analytics, having, trading education, which we're going to be continuing to build out, and then also just like gamifying it and adding leaderboards. And trading is also really lonely for people.
Hmm.
And so, having community within our app and people being able to converse about the trades that they're making is something we're looking to add. And then I love like what a lot of these, like the Duolingos of the world in terms of
Hmm.
like, hitting milestones and earning badges and earning points as you progress, like just making it so that it's not all about the payouts. Like it's actually, just a fun place to trade that's much lower risk than, trading the live markets.
Yeah, I think it's interesting on a couple levels. Like, I'm surprised no one's done this before. Um, yet, is this kind of like the first time someone's tried it, this model with prop
It
firms?
is. It
Yeah, because
is.
it seems
Yeah.
very it's much more aligned, right? Because the prop
Yeah.
firm can control the amount of funds that they
Mhm.
give out, so they're not like put in this bad situation all the time.
Yeah.
And at the same time, as a trader, like you have to pay the fee for the simulation, I think,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
you
Of
like you
course.
don't put up risk capital really.
Exactly.
So you're
Nope.
kind of just in this simulated environment, you're completing challenges, you're competing,
Mhm.
and the firm, and you still get to get rewarded for your trading, which I think is a
Exactly.
really good model. I mean, I've seen this. I've seen other people try this model in prediction markets, not this specifically, but
Right.
like there's a company called Manifold Markets, which does
Mhm. Yeah.
simulated trading with like prize payouts and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And to be honest, I think it's the future. I think that there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that don't want to put up the risk capital with prediction markets.
I
So
agree.
yeah.
Well, and especially, yeah, because to date, it's you had to open a wallet, like fund a wallet at Polymarket or, with Kalshi. Like there was no other way to gain exposure to trading prediction markets without that. And so, at the very least, like even if you're not looking to like get payouts, but you have been hearing about prediction markets and just want to see what it's all about, like whether it's at Catalyst or somewhere, funding predicts, like do it in a simulator, please.
Yeah.
Please, like get your feet wet, and see what it's, all about before, putting funding a wallet because I've heard, my time at Top Step, like I've heard horror stories, like people lose tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like we would hear people who lost their kids' college funds or like my wife is going to leave me if I like don't stop trading. So, um yeah.
Oh yeah, that's that's a tough one.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem, especially with prediction markets, like the risk is so much greater. So like, or sometimes it seems like it's greater because it's not it's zero sum, right? You either win a
Mhm.
market or you lose a market. There's
Mhm.
no more or less right.
Right.
So like the simulation environment becomes even more important, I think, because
I
it's like,
agree.
and right now we're dealing with this thing where, there's a lot of people saying like, oh yeah, you get into prediction markets and it's just really experienced traders just taking money from
Hmm.
novice traders. Honestly, I just think that's a skill issue. I think like
Yes.
it's a new market, it's a new kind of asset
Hmm.
class.
Right.
Over time, more people will learn,
Right.
but it's a little bit riskier to jump in because there's no, because
Hmm.
of that more or less right thing. So that's
Right.
why I think that stuff like this is really good.
I agree. And yeah, because, you know, people, as I was building this, they're like, well, the barrier to entry of trading, Kalshi or Poly, it's like you could trade for $10. And it's like, okay, so you trade for $10, you buy it 50 cents, like the most you're making is $15. Like that's not gonna teach people anything. Like they're not gonna like learn the risk management skills and the strategies of how to trade. Like actually being able to trade with some size is I think the best way to learn because you can try different strategies and dabble in different markets. But again, the alternative to a simulator is invest like putting even more money in the live markets to start. And so I am all about like taking the what you earn at Catalyst, and that's kind of the message, at least for the existing prop firm traders. It's like, do this challenge, get your payouts, and then go trade for yourself. Like you can use that money to fund your account, but you will have gotten kind of the reps of learning how to trade. And then at that point you're kind of playing with house money because you earn the payouts, but you've gotten that exposure versus just going in as completely fresh.
So we have like a few minutes left, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes left. I'm wondering if we
Yeah,
could take like maybe a sneak peek at the platform.
I
If
would
that-
love to show you. Okay. So this is our oh, I need to share my screen. Let me see. Are we good? Wait, share entire.
uh, there
Let's
we are.
see.
Very cool.
Very good. We're good.
Yes, good to
All
go.
right. Okay. So this is the main page when you log into our app. Let's see, this 15-minute uh, crypto market is coming to a close. So these prices that you see reflect what is happening in real time on Polymarket for all of these events. Um, John, can you hear me? Oh,
Yes.
okay, cut out. So um, this is not a good one. So just like you would see on Polymarket, they're maxed out at 100. So let's see kind of what's live. We got some tennis. So these are all the live events happening right now. I think we should trade. What about some World Cup? Let's see. Oh, we got France and Senegal. Who do you got, John?
This is not my highest probability. I'm going with 67%. That's my
Okay.
strategy right now is just go with the highest probability. So far, it's
Okay.
working.
Okay. I like that strategy. So you can trade up to 15,000, or not 15,000, that's your account size. You can trade up to 1,500 per market. Should we go all in on France?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So order place. So we got filled at 67. We will see how that one goes for us. Then we have some other ones. So what are we thinking? Draw or no? Ooh, you could make some big
I
money on a
honestly, I
draw.
would do. I mean, draw or no. That's I do no. No on that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm
Let's
always just
see.
gonna go with the highest percentage. Like if it's I mean, right now that's what I'm doing. And so far it's working.
Okay. So then, so we got those placed, and we could see our open positions here. we can go back to our main page. Oh, so then we got the new, this one's Ethereum 15-minute. We can see our open positions here. Um, okay, up for Ethereum. It sounds like you're an all-in, or you're a
No, well, see,
highest
with crypto
probability.
markets, it's weird. With crypto
It
markets, there's
is.
some markets lately I've been doing like with political markets. If I see like a 90% probable, I'll go with the 90% 9 times out of 10. But with these markets, it's really hard. They're really fickle.
Yes. I'm feeling like I think 1,000 on up is good. Let's see. And then let's see what oh, they're all trading pretty similar. So let's see. We got Bitcoin, and we can see the chart moving.
The
Current
chart
price,
looks
that's the
great, by the
target.
way. I mean, like
Thank
it's
you.
fast, it's moving nice. It's
Yeah,
yeah, I mean that yeah, I mean, like to be honest, as you're going through the platform, everything looks really good.
thank you. And
Um
then we got
and
the
it's all
order book.
simulated.
We got the order book that matches Polymarket. So, that's one thing to note is when people trade, bigger positions on lower liquidity markets, there can be some slippage. This one looks pretty good right now, but if you trade some of those obscure ones, so the slippage, the fills, it mimics that of Polymarket. You're also able to do limit orders, which is cool as
So do you
well.
get the time delays? Like if there's a time delay, would
No,
there be a time?
nope,
Okay. Okay,
nope.
interesting.
It is all real time.
Well,
So it was a
like
lot
let's
of
say
infrastructure.
yeah, like let's say if like Polymarket has, like Polymarket's interface isn't always working correctly. Um, you know, I love Polymarket, but sometimes it
Yeah.
glitches out. I'm like, if you're trading on this, would you kind of try and mimic that? Like, would you get to that level of detail, or do you think that that's not valuable?
Would a trader want to trade both?
Like if like let's say like there's a delay on the trade, or let's say like there's a time delay or something like that. Would
Mhm.
there be a time delay in the simulated environment as well?
So if there was a time delay on Polymarket because our data comes directly from Polymarket, so
Hmm.
I'm going to embarrass myself with my lack of tech lingo, but the WebSocket, the the
Oh yeah.
API, yes, it would. And so there has been, a couple days ago, there was an issue with, I think it was like the current, maybe the target price or current price for the crypto markets. There was something happening on Polymarket, so that did affect us. Um, I would say our biggest challenge with Polymarket data is their end dates for some of the events is inconsistent.
Hmm.
This is a well-known thing. And so we will have events that will be marked, will still show as an open trade that then we'll have to go manually close if they're still showing as open on Polymarket. So yeah, like you said, the crypto markets can be fickle. We can see the order book here moving. What are you thinking for this one, John? We're at Bitcoin up or
I mean,
down?
let's go with. I mean, let's go with down. Let's see what happens.
Down.
We'll go with
Okay.
down. Why not? I never win on these markets. These markets are very difficult.
You know,
Uh,
they are. It's funny though, people, and maybe it's, we, majority of our customers, just given like my team and our connection to future trading in particular. We've gotten a lot of, futures traders and they love the crypto markets. So you can see here the live positions that we have um, right here. Those have not moved. The uh, the World Cup games. Ooh, our Ethereum's down
Yeah. You know what I
25%.
love about this model? I love
Yeah.
the fact that you're not, so because it's all simulated, that would be less pressure, I would assume, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not handling people's wallets, you're not handling like custody.
Exactly.
You're just kind of running a simulation. It's a good simulation. Like, it's down to
Mm-hmm.
like, even if there's a delay on Polymarket, there's going to be a
Oh
delay
yeah.
here as well. So like all of that stuff is factored in. But yeah, you don't have to handle people's money, which is, I
Right.
think, probably what I like best about this model.
Yes. So let's just go ahead and sell this position and I'll show you. So then you can go to the portfolio page. So you can here see your open positions as well. If you had watch lists, order history. So, all the fills and then trade history. I think yep. So trade history. And then we can go to our performance, which, oh, we got to get a little more data, but this is cool. So you'll be able to see your P&L for all your trades. You can look at the trades in
Oh, cool.
general, which is pretty cool. And then we have the analysis here. Oh, crypto is currently my worst. But
Oh,
average
that's
entry
cool.
price, which is cool. Yeah. Let me see
I haven't
if I
seen
can.
that before. This is a new one, like performance now.
Yes.
And you would use that to
Yes.
evaluate, right? That's partially why you have the data set up there.
So actually ours is, in terms of, trying to be pretty, let me close out these positions and hopefully get some more data. Let's see. Close. Let's sell all. Um, and then so our rules, so this is the realized account balance. So that's based off of the original starting balance was 15,000. Um, I have lost some money, so I am behind. I had mentioned that there is a max loss. This is level one that I'm on right now, so
Mm.
there is no max loss. And the idea behind that is really just I want people to get their feet wet, get used to, trading, not get knocked out or disqualified by, hitting the max drawdown. So no max loss for um, level one. The max loss starts at level 2 through 5. We can see our open P&L, and that's where I talked about, there's, as you know, can be big swings with markets. And so we did not want that to count against people when it comes to the max loss, which again is not applicable for level one. And then the only other rule here is qualifying trades. So for level one, um, we just rolled out this new account yesterday. So this is supposed to be two. So you have to do two qualifying trades. And again, here's the portfolio. And this will be updating shortly. We got this updated with the analysis. All my crypto trades, John, we're not doing good.
Crypto
um,
is, yeah, it's a tough cat. Like the shorter markets are, uh,
it is.
it's
It's
a coin
funny.
toss for me. I mean, like sometimes I can do like the week, like will Bitcoin be up this week? Those I'm better at
Yes.
those.
And I'm hoping as we start to like expand and, attract people that maybe have more experience trading prediction markets, we will see kind of more variety of what people are trading. But, to date, it's like 85, 90% of people are um, trading crypto, which I'm like, I get it. It's fun. It's short term. You get those like dopamine hits, but like there's so much more to prediction markets than just trading crypto.
Yeah, I think that those markets will improve over. I mean, as more liquidity comes in, I
Yeah.
think I've been seeing like I'm really interested in. I was talking to we were doing an interview with 5cc3 Capital, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
he mentioned that Noah mentioned that he was interested in culture markets because he sees those as like a great
Mhm.
arbitrage opportunity. You know, there's like a lot of data. There's a lot of people focusing on crypto. There's a lot of data for crypto.
Mhm.
Same thing
Yeah,
with the political markets, but the undersought markets, like the culture markets, could be where you get
agreed.
some serious edge.
Yeah, and so, we have the politics, of course. You have sports markets, um, the tennis. My husband, he thinks he's figured out a solid strategy for tennis. But he was trading live money, before we were live, and I'm pretty sure, down to zero. And so I'm like, I think you need to move to Catalyst now. But then here's the, longer term crypto markets that you talked about. So we do have those as well. And then the finance, uh, geopolitics. So yeah, it's really meant to mimic exactly what you would be able to trade on Polymarket,
So
just
so
in a
Knight
safer
says
environment.
so someone from our community, Knight, gave the fire emoji. I know Knight is participating in a few things right now in terms of challenges. He's a great trader, by the way. He's participating in the Kairos World Cup Challenge and I think a few
Yeah.
others. I'm sure that he would love to get involved with Catalyst. Is it open now? Can people just get on and
Yes.
start using?
Yes, it is open now. We have a $50 off code, but I how about we do 50%? We could do let's do polyfactual. I will make that
Oh,
code immediately after
that would be
this.
great.
Polyfactual, 50% off. So that puts it at like 80 $80. And yeah, you
That
can
would be awesome. Thank you
trade,
so much.
and yeah, people can, trade and hopefully get paid out $1,500. And then, once you pass each level, this is where your wallet will be, and you can request a withdrawal as soon as you pass each level.
Yeah, I mean that would be great. I mean I think our community would absolutely love that. I'll share that
Yeah,
around and
thank
yeah,
you.
well, thank you for doing that. Again, I'll say that if you watch Polyfactual, you get some serious alpha here. So like this is
Yeah.
so this is the type of stuff that you get. Um, so I guess so I think we're pretty much done. I mean, I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I do have one other question for you.
Yeah.
A super easy question, just in terms of like next steps for Catalyst, like
Mhm.
what you guys are planning, or are you raising? Are you planning to raise?
Yes.
What comes next for the project?
Yeah, so to date, I have self-funded it with, if anybody has any questions, how much I am in, I am all in. We used my husband and I's retirement. I tell people that, and they are like, "Oh my gosh, you're insane." But I believe in this so much, and I just know it's going to be a huge success. But we have been also to fundraise close around in the next week or so, which is very that to um, we will use that. Let me just stop sharing. So to really just accelerate growth, hire a few more engineers, and on the roadmap, the social engagement, features and functionality, adding more account sizes with higher payout opportunities. Right now, we just have the one. Um, because, we wanted to start small, make sure, this works, this is attractive, there's not, issues. I lean towards the more cons- conservative, risk adverse side of things because I would much rather under promise than over deliver. And then, a lot of people I think in the space are kind of, oh, we blinked out, but we have a very unique, fun take on different competitions that we are going to be building out and rolling out soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super bullish on the project.
Thank
I
you.
give props to you for kind of going all in. I mean, I do think it's a really good idea. And yeah, I just haven't seen it before. Yeah. So I'm bullish. I'm bullish in this, and I
Thank
think
you.
people from our community will probably want to jump on and start using this.
That coming from you and your exposure to the space and the all the amazing CEOs and founders and prediction market players that you interview, like that is just a fantastic compliment and vote of confidence. So thank you. That really means a lot. And the last thing I will say, if anybody is listening, like I would love anybody and everyone, whether you're a potential trader for us or, maybe looking to collaborate in some way, like reach out. My DMs are open. I want to talk to anyone and everyone.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Melissa, and yeah, definitely let's stay in touch and let me know if you have any updates you want to announce. I'd love to have you back on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to get that code up for 50% off in the next 30 seconds.
Cool, cool.
All right, John. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.